All right, welcome guys. Today I'm very excited because we have a very special guest as, for my first guest in Tire Talk podcast by Fernandoherrera, and it's Baker Ghanim.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so Baker, we're going to be talking definitely a lot of interesting things, but how are you doing today, man?
Man, doing great, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I know we just came from an accelerator program. That's funny enough where we met, right?
Yes.
So I had not known of you, and how did you know about? Because I remember you were the first one that approached me,
yes,
in the accelerator program.
Yeah. So when you first, I think, put out your first video a few years back on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yes, I seen your content, and I would follow you for sure, man, and just kind of check out what you had going on. And I was curious about the mobile business too. So I was like, man, this is interesting. Somebody's given us like an insider perspective, like somebody that's actually doing it, not just talking about how awesome it is and things like that.
Okay. So I thought it was because, for the accelerator program, we're supposed to do a pitch or introduction video. And I thought that's how you just saw the introduction video and had seen it, but then pretty much you saw a video beforehand. So when you saw me, you were like, wow, that's coincidence, right?
Yes. I was like, that's the guy from YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Well, then how did you, I know your story, but for those that don't, how did you get into the tire industry? Just give us a little background about yourself.
Yeah, man. So when my family moved to the States, my dad got in the tire business, and then he was successful, knew what he was doing, and then me in college, I always wanted to be in business, really. I was doing the college route, but just always thinking about what's my next business. I was selling T-shirts and things like that in college. Then one day I called my dad. I said, hey, Dad, there's this shop. I really like it. He was like, man, what are you doing? You're in school. Finish your school. I said, listen, it's a good opportunity. It was like $22,000 for this store, man. Oh. And this was the land, like the property, like the whole, it was across the street from McDonald's. It was tiny. But I just loved the location. I was seeing so much potential. And then back then in Houston, the city would put like an X on a building that they wanted to demolish if like nobody fixed or improved. And this one had an X on it. So I was like, I knew that the owner would probably be motivated to sell. We reached out to the owner, got a deal done, $22,000, bought that place, sold it 6 months or 8 months after, made decent profit, and then we moved to full service. I bought my first Firestone store. And man, after that, just kind of worked with my dad and just his connections and just his mentorship and just everything he knew about business and, how to just work hard. And slowly started building stores, went and opened more stores. And then one day, when we were like at store number 3, we set the whole team down. We said, whoever's with us, once we reach store number 10, each one of you guys is going to get $10,000. We just put that goal in front of everybody. And we're at store number 9 right now. We have store number 10 under contract.
Wow.
Yes. This is going to be our first ground up build. We're excited for it. Just want to see what it's like to build a store, maybe from scratch, because we don't know what it's like.
So you guys bought the land for this store number 10. You bought the land. You guys are building it from scratch with like designs, architects, and everything.
Everything. We've never done that.
I am actually interested, Baker, in talking a little bit more about, because this is something where I personally don't have a lot of experience, and I think this could be of great value for those who have one store. Who are potentially thinking and getting into multiple stores.
Sure.
And you mentioning, going now into ground up, that's like next level. That's like very little tire businesses have the privilege to buy the land, build it from scratch. And once you get the recipe, for that, the people I know have been very, very, very successful, which hopefully, you guys as well. But what's the advice in terms of multi-location that you think, for those considering getting multiple locations, like what's something you could give them advice? How did you do it?
Yeah, I really, so my dad would always tell me, he would say, because I was always ambitious too. Like I really wanted to have 10 stores in 2 years. You know what I mean? And it would be like, only if we had more money, right? Only if we had more people. Only if we had, more tires or unlimited credit from our suppliers or whatever it was, right? And my dad would always say, you just have to play the card that you're dealt. You know what I mean? Don't ever complain about the card like that's in front of you. Just play it to the best you can. I was blessed to have a wonderful card. Just having his connections, and like I said, even the small amount of money we had, and to start with, the capital that we had was just beautiful and helped me get started. And then, so at that stage, all you're trying to do is survive. Stage number 1 is just survive. Build those customers, grow your inventory. You know what I mean? And inventory is essential to our stores, our model. You know what I mean? So we're just building that. That was the first stage. Stage number 2 is probably growing your people. Getting a backup in your store. Once you got a confident backup, then you can start looking at other stores. But you got to have the people. Now we're privileged. We could have 2 or 3 extra sales staff or managers that can go out and open a new store, on their own. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yes, where we always have 2 or 3 extra people just in case. Somebody needs to go on vacation, we open a new store. We always feel like, we could definitely run 1 or 2 stores at any time if the opportunity arises at this point. We're privileged. This wasn't the case when we started.
So would you say the key point here is a team? Like, you have to have a team if you want to scale. And if that's the case, talking from experience now, then how do you find that right talent? Because it's not that easy to know who can run a store.
No, you're right. Fernando, you've talked to some of my people, right? But honestly, like some of our hires, just because we feel good about the person, so we really invest in the person and then figure out how they're going to fit in the company. You know what I mean? Like even the project me and you were working on, buytoyotires.com, like that was a project on the shelf. It really wasn't there. Then Usman comes around, right? And then I'm like, this Usman is effectively, he's in Colombia, right? But he's such a good person, hardworking person. How do we use that talent? How do we grow that talent? And I said, this idea has been on my mind. Now, I have Fernando here that can build a site. I have Usman that can manage a site. And then we're, got a great relationship with Toyo. Let's put these pieces together and build buytoyotires.com. And that's how, that's how it is.
So there's no really, I would say, secret recipe or success for finding, out of candidates that are coming in. Because, I'm sure you've done interviews yourself. And I had one guy one time who we did an interview. And then right after the interview, he threw he told me, I'm going to go back home. And if I get hired, I'm going to throw this bottle into the wall. And I'm going to say, thank God I got hired. I'm going to do the best and this and that. And then we actually gave him an offer because we just liked that energy. And he didn't show up the next day to work. So it was like, wow.
Yes. So don't get me wrong. Yes, we've had lots of problems like that too. Right now though, the things have changed. Even they're so much different than pre-COVID. So currently, we spend a lot of time, I would say, on maintaining who we have, and kind of grow that team. That keep growing our team. So we spend a lot of energy goes into maintaining the talent that we have and bringing new talent. But it's always been hire fast, and I hate to say it, but fire faster kind of thing.
Okay.
So bring them in, and then sometimes they walk away just because they feel like they feel that they're not fitting in. You know what I mean?
It's already a healthy culture, man. That's actually really hard to accomplish. Believe it or not, it's really hard.
We're blessed. Like I said, we're really, really blessed. It started in the beginning that way. We worked hard, and then just the guys that are working the stores, managing the stores now, they truly work just as hard as I ever did, and even harder, for sure.
So talking about then a hard day of work, tell me, what's a typical day? What's your role? Let's start there, and then what's the day as your role in the company right now? Like
currently?
Yeah.
So
what's your role right now?
So I'm president of Tire Store Service Center.
Okay, yes. Perfect. So president of Tire Store Service Center. I guess I should have started that way, man. Yeah. But, it's just when we met, I believe you were like the operations. right?
Yeah, when we met, I was doing more operations.
The controller or COO kind of thing, right?
Yes. So now I'm kind of, my brother's doing operations, so he no longer works a store. He does operations. My sister does finance for the company, and then we just need to fill like a sales and marketing person. So for now, me and my brother kind of help with that side of work, and then we have, that's another weird thing, man. It's like somehow there's people inside the company that are just naturally looking over like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 stores, and I don't even ask them to. But those managers have built such like good relationships with each other that they feel more comfortable asking, you could say another manager, hey, how do I handle this situation, instead of having to call Baker. And this has naturally just taken off a lot of load off of me and my brother, because it takes a little bit of work to manage 9 locations. So I check in on reviews. I'm very much involved on reviews, so I do a lot of that every day. Every review that the company receives, I read and try to understand what the culture inside the store is based on the customer's feedback. Mm-hmm. I check the numbers for each store every day at the end of the day, and I call the ones that are doing great and the ones that are not doing so good. Like the ones in the middle probably won't get a call from me, unfortunately. But it's the ones that need a little bit of support, or the ones that just had an amazing day. Just to try to just carry that energy, talk to them, figure out what they did differently that day and what was going on in their day, and it just works. It's been good. I also call on our vendors and suppliers, to make sure that if they have any deals. We do a lot of deals too with tires, so I'm calling them to make sure they got any deals. Okay. Where we are on our numbers with programs. We do a lot of back-end programs, so make sure that if we're close to getting to the next level on a certain tier, I just want to be there. I want to be there ready to capitalize on that back-end money as much as we can.
Right. Okay, and so you're saying that a typical day as the president right now is really just overseeing. Do you guys have meetings? Like do you have actually staff meetings or meetings with like higher ups?
Yeah, so higher up meetings, we were doing them once every 2 weeks, and then we've kind of fell off on that. As far as manager meetings, we have them every quarter. And we bring all the managers in. And again, we have a dedicated team. So instead of closing at 7, some of us close at 6 o'clock. We're usually at a restaurant by 7 p.m. And our meeting would go about 2 hours. We discuss any changes, things we want to implement in the company, if there's problems, just the overall vision. Just give your people the vision. They'll manage it in their own way. We're not micromanaging here. We're just allowing our guys to really truly own their stores. They feel like they're, we don't call it Cleburne store, Eli store. We might say that just naturally, because it's really Eli's store at that point. He's ran it for 6 or 7 years. People go to see him, So we love that. We love that, and the guys love it as well.
All right, man. No, that's good. Now, where do you think your store gets more sales currently? I mean, there's always this debate. I don't know if you're familiar with this debate, but whether phone leads to sales or websites leads to sales. So where do you think personally Tire Service Center gets more sales?
I like the phone still today, but the beauty of the website is just, it's like it works on its own. You don't have to spend any time. I mean, you just get an email in the morning that tells you so-and-so wants 4 tires. They're available. I mean, it's amazing. It's like, it took me a really long time to really play that card. Now looking back at it, I should have been doing that for a long time now. Yeah, we just started maybe 4 or 5 months ago, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
And in terms of phone policy, again, you guys have specific rules, or because I've seen some businesses that really don't pay too much attention on the phones. Yeah. But again, that's the first thing when someone reaches out to me and tells me, hey, I can't seem to get this store to pick up in sales. Mm-hmm. the first thing I always ask is like, are you answering your phones? Because, you know, there's a whole bunch of cells that just go unhandled there.
Yes.
So do you think like phones have played an important role, or how do you guys get your customers? Like, how have you been able to reach such success other than customer service? I know customer service and the team is important, but what other factors do you think?
You know, there isn't like one magical thing. The way I think of operating our business, I think of it like in terms of 10%. So if we can be just 10% better at answering our phone, then we have an advantage in the industry. If we can be 10% better at greeting our customers when they walk in, it's an advantage. If our lobby is 10% cleaner, you know what I mean? Just think about that. Like so it's all these pieces do fall together, but you're so right when you talk about the phone. It's dismissed a lot of times. To solve that, let's try to help with that. We've switched to all digital phones. So I can go walk into any shop now and just change the location I'm at, and I'll start picking up phones from that location from my personal phone.
Okay.
And then if we have a store that closes, on a Sunday or something, like on a holiday or something weird happens, we can transfer all the phones to another store. Yeah. We're actually thinking about building like a calling center one day, like pretty soon, just in case the store is busy. We can actually have like people are sitting down answering the phone, taking more time, and just making sure that the customer is getting the best, calling experience.
It's actually maybe a video for another day, but I mean, for Vegas stores, we do have a call center in Mexico. Remember I told you? So we have like 2 or 3 agents where they just do that all day long, right? Just pick up calls, attend online quotes. It's typical, but it does provide a easier and a good solution, right? So
you like the solution?
Yeah, I personally do think as long as you have a good person answering the phone call that's bilingual, that can help the customer at the end of the day. The customer really values that.
Do they know a lot about tires? Like
they train, just like anyone.
Nice.
You train them, you get them to understand the flow, and then eventually, if they don't know how to handle something, then just pass it along to a manager once the manager's available, to an actual store.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously there are challenges, but I think overall it's a good solution. I think that's often underseen by multiple store owners.
Yeah, please, let's talk about that whenever, or make a video about that. It's beautiful.
All right, man. No, yeah, for sure. So I know that you mentioned you read every review. So what do you do when you have a negative review?
Yeah, really, this is, over the years, I learned to look from the customer's perspective. So one of our most recent reviews, customer came in for an oil change. I'm talking about a lot of great ones, but the negative ones are the ones that kind of stick, and I need to address them. Mm-hmm. And I love it when I get almost get a rush of people who are messaging me about that review, because they know there's something. It's almost like it's an emergency that happens. Like everyone kind of freaks out when we get a bad review, mm-hmm. Because we want to address the issue as fast as we can and try to help that customer. But the first part, this last review that we got, the customer came in for an oil change 2 months after. She was out of town in Arkansas or something, had her car overheated, took it to a mechanic. Mechanic kind of told her that, hey, these guys could have done better at checking this or checking that. They should have done drain plug differently, and just thinking from the customer's perspective, I mean, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not our job to check, but for her, it's like, why shouldn't you figure out that my car is going to overheat regardless? You're the last people that touched it. So we called the customer trying to explain, overheating issue isn't really directly related to an oil change. We completely understand. When you come back, please let us check out the car, see if we can make it right. We already set up an appointment with the lady. Just hopefully just get in front of her, and just try to make her feel comfortable about it, and those reviews are so important. We sacrifice a lot, for good reviews.
Wow.
Yes.
Is there a specific platform like Google, Yelp, or all of them?
Yeah, so we focus on Google. We're now kind of addressing Yelp a little bit, but definitely Google.
Google's primarily the leading. Okay.
Yeah, because we feel like even Facebook sometimes I think is important for those people that are maybe doing like more custom stuff, and but for us it's more of a spontaneous search. I got a flat, let me look up which tire shop is around me, and then the one with the good reviews I think has a better chance at getting that business.
All right. Now, and again, this is something you can share. You can share just an approximate, but if someone wants to start a new tire shop, what markups would you recommend in terms of, to simplify it, maybe standard labor hour, labor rate, and markup on tires, and then just those two parts, and maybe parts, like if you do any markup on parts.
Yeah. So all our markups are matrixed, meaning like a part or a tire that's $50, I get marked up like $20. But a tire that's $100 will not get marked up 40%. Will get marked up like 25 or 28%.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's more or less where we are. A $300 tire might get marked up, I think 18%, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, that's around.
And the lowest tier from 0, let's say, to 60, what would be the markup?
I want to say right at 45. Yeah, probably right at 40, 45. Then we separate our mountain balance. So our mountain balance is always separate. It's never included in the price of the tire.
Well, what's a good mountain balance price for you right now?
For our tires, we charge $22 if you buy the tires from us. If you bring your own tires, we charge $30.
Which is becoming somewhat of a norm right now, to have two types of pricing, whether you bring your tires or whether you buy them through us. Have an incentive to buy tires with us.
Yes, absolutely.
That's smart. I like that.
And you get lifetime flat repair, rotation, balance. And another big play we're doing now, which I think is going to change our business, is we just introduced free road hazard on all our tires.
Really?
Yes.
Do you guys actually sell that on the side though, or is it just freely provided on the purchase of tires?
Just by buying the tires, you get it free of charge.
There's another, but road hazard is a very lucrative business.
Absolutely.
As well. I mean, just if you were to sell it at $5 or $10 for the set, $250 per tire, very, very lucrative.
Yes, we tried, and we kept failing at it. We said, you know what? And one of our vendors really supported us on this path. And I think a lot of our, if we spoke to, I encourage every tire dealer that's thinking about doing this is to go and speak to your vendors and see what they're willing to do. But one of our vendors really just helped us almost all the way, and got us an amazing deal on road hazard.
Do you mind sharing the vendor? Or no?
Yeah, Tire Hub.
Oh, Tire Hub. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We know Tire Hub for sure.
So Tire Hub. They just rolled out the program. I think it's open for anyone, I believe. It's a set amount that you pay every month, and regardless how many tires you buy. And I think ATD has a similar program.
I was going to say, I think it's similar to ATD Activate. For those who are not aware, you just pay. And I think US Auto Force also has a plan like that, where you get a website now, even through Net Driven, or I forget who it was, but it's something like you pay $250, and then any tire that you sell is pretty much covered by road hazard. However, if you do the math, $250, you would have to, again, if you're selling each tire, it depends. It's just a numbers game. But if you're selling more than 100 tires per week or per month, I forgot the math, but you're better off doing an in-house program.
Of course.
Money-wise. But again, convenience-wise, definitely, just working through a partner is easy.
Yes.
Plus, I guess they get national coverage, right? So if
they do.
Yeah. So it's hard to beat, man. But that's something that's definitely interesting. Also, thank you so much for TireBase for sponsoring this podcast. TireBase is a POS system that helps you manage multi-location stores. So whether you want to start upgrading from 1 store to 9 stores, TireBase has the ability to transfer, to manage your stores all in one single place. So again, thank you so much, TireBase, for sponsoring this video. If you want to check them out, hit the link in the description box. So Baker, we're wrapping up this podcast, but before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what is your next big move for the next 12 months?
And really the most exciting idea right now in my mind is I want all of us tire dealers to be able to connect to multiple suppliers all on one page. And then on that page, we should be able to view inventory across suppliers, search through that inventory in order without having to hop through multiple tabs. Me and you have discussed this thing, man. I feel like it's a much needed tool. What's your thoughts, man? What do you think?
No, I get it. I mean, I've been there where, as a distributor, again, mainly tire distributor, we check, even as a competitor, we are checking every single tire distributor out there, and it's just a lot easier to have one page with all your products in one single tab.
Yes, and just want to make it kind of inclusive. Everybody, there's nobody over anybody. There's not a favorite brand or favorite supplier. We're all let the dealer decide what brand they like. What if they have a preference or what supplier they have. That's my vision, man, and I'm definitely dedicating a lot more time towards that. That's why I've kind of not walked away, but I've kind of just let other people run the show a little bit more, as far as our main business, and focus on this idea because I really believe in it. I think it's a much needed tool.
Okay. And if you were to start from scratch today with zero, from scratch, how would you do it?
I'd say I would go through most of the things same exact way. I would just start bringing in the best talent a little bit earlier. I really feel like I should have paid a little bit more, instead of along with trying to grow inventory, I should have invested also a little bit earlier with people, to get to the level of people that we have today. And then, in the beginning, it took me a little while, but 2 or 3 years into the business, I picked up a lot of people by giving them their pay was based on commission. So they seen our stores doing good, and I told them, hey, with your help, we can even do better. I need you here. What do I need to pay you? What percentage do you think is good? And people would hop on, and then I got a few people in the company now that I know they're I don't know how we would do it without them, to be honest.
Wow, man. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you so much, Baker, for joining us. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. The purpose of the Tire Talk podcast is to meet more great people like Baker. We're going to be traveling all over the U.S. and possibly the world, just getting to know people in the tire industry, just so that those who want to start buying from overseas or want to start multiple locations or just simply start in the tire industry, they can find this podcast, they can find our newsletters helpful. And hopefully, again, if it helps a single person out there, I think it serves the purpose well. So again, thank you so much for watching all of this video. Thank you, Baker, again, one more time. And can't wait to see you at SEMA, man.
Man, no, I'm excited, man. And thank you so much for having me here today, man.
All right. Thank you, man.